Have a countdown now. That's the technical step.
Yeah.
You know, y'all didn't see what we saw with some of the technical.
Yeah,
Right, new technology going on. Sometimes it's just hard to speak so early in the morning. And I know after you guys are like, hey, wait, what happened? What's going on? Oh, we're just having some studio renovations.
Right.
So, you know, we're just over here at Location B, back outside here. Where,
it was such a beautiful day out. We decided we were going to do this outside. There's no need to be inside. We're going to do it outside.
We're going to do this outside.
Yeah, we're here.
That's right. You'll see me swatting them away, but I'm allergic. If I get stung and my lips get like 3 times as big, it's okay. Enjoy the show and just laugh at what you see. All right. So, how you doing, Facebook fam? Of course, this is another episode of B&W. And, of course, I'm your boy, Lavelle. That's my boy, AP, over here. And I believe we are on show, what? 17.
17. Getting there. 3 more shows. We're at the big 2-0.
Big 2-0.
After the new year. 2-0 will be at the new year. Yeah.
I mean,
December will be a whole year.
I'm going to have to share. And then we'll know who's our special guest. Today is our special guest is Cindy here, so we're not going to go into the whole scope realm of things. But Cindy, I just want to say, when we started this, we had things like 13 people, something like that. Mm-hmm. So, to what we've done in a year, I mean, we've made some strides in touching our people. You know, we've got to about 1,000 people now.
We're not touching people in the Harvey Weinstein way.
That's right.
Kevin Spacey way.
No Me Too movement over here.
Touching lives.
Not at all. Not
touching spaces.
That's correct. That is correct. So, you know, just want to tell everybody.
Right.
I just no touch zones, no touch zones. Just want to tell everybody thank you for your time that you do get us over this.
Ashley Judd got that.
Yeah, for sure. So, as we do what we do, I'm going to go ahead and turn the show over to my co-host here, AP. AP, go ahead and take it.
So, welcome to another episode of the greatest show ever. This show, we are the tits. And but really, as you can see, we're wearing pink.
Did you see Cindy? Was like, wait a minute. Right. I don't think this is what I signed up.
And this is actually in honor of breast cancer awareness. So that's what we're talking about.
That's where we're at.
There you go.
That's where we're at.
And as you see with us wearing pink, you'll notice in the next couple of days the NFL is going to follow our trend and probably wear pink too, just to try to be like a B&W show.
We're leaders.
Everybody wants to be the B&W show.
You know what?
So personally, I can say, as far as I know, I don't have any breast cancer history in my family, as far as I'm aware. But we do have a special guest, as we said, who's going to be here. Who's here to talk about her experience with fighting and winning over breast cancer. So we have to welcome Ms. Cindy Brewer.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for being here with us as well. So you do have something that's near and dear to you.
Yes.
You want to go ahead and share.
Well, I was diagnosed in 2016 from just a normal routine mammogram. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and started my treatments in February of 17 and finished them up in May of 17, which was 16 chemo treatment. And from there, I had a complete double mastectomy with a reconstruction called a flap, where they take body fat and bring it up to your breast. So now I don't have to worry about getting cancer again because it took all the breast tissue out.
That's helpful.
Yes, that's very comforting. Yes, it is. And I think for me, my personality, that was the only way I could go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of women may have a lumpectomy and just take the tumor out and have radiation also along with the chemo. But for me, that wasn't a choice because it would always be in the back of my mind, you know, that is it coming back? And, you know, every little pain you have or illness you have, you think it's coming back again.
Right.
So I, with the help of my daughter and my family, my siblings, my friends, they all were there to support me and back me and left me and took me for what was going on, and I so much appreciate that. They have no idea how much that really means to someone who's going through something that you don't know whether you'll make it out of or not. So, thumbs up to my family.
So before we get too involved with your story, I want to make sure the masses are included. So we want to do the dry part of where we include the numbers and the whole deal because like this may be Cindy's story, but it's important for you, man or woman, to be aware of what breast cancer is. So, so to break it between, well, you know, men say, "Oh, it's a woman thing." Okay, so in 2018 for this year, it was estimated that 126 out of every 100,000 women was going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Exactly, it's a woman thing, right? But one out of 100,000 men are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer.
So that means that this is not, it is something that basically was brought to attention with women.
Yeah.
But as over time and research and medicine, we discovered, hey, we are susceptible to breast cancer too.
And I believe it is that low, one out of 100,000, because it's thought to be a woman thing. And so women are the ones who routinely get checked and then are found. Whereas men too have breast cancer, breast tissue. So men are susceptible. But we don't, it's not in our part of our routine to get that checked. So it's possible there's men out there who have it that is not going to go reported and it's going to be something else.
Undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, or leads to something else.
And then on the mortality side, so again, women, 20 out of 100,000, or 20 out of the 126 are going to essentially die from breast cancer. Whereas men, they have 0.03, but that's still a chance. 0.03 out of 1.1. Right? You know, it's still.
Is there so minute though? But
that's mortality.
That's the mortality.
That's the mortality rate.
And that's because they don't do anything about something that they might be worried about.
Right.
So they don't go to the doctor soon enough, and then it spreads to other parts of the body.
Exactly.
And becomes a bigger issue.
And it can always just start, and I could be wrong, but it could just start as a pain.
Exactly.
Sure.
You just like, oh, I took this hit in my chest. Oh, I was lifting weights. Oh, the dumbbell hit me in the side. It was just there. Like, that pain's still there 2 months later. I don't know, man.
Right.
I was working out this ice on
So- So now when it comes to race, it's like, oh, it's a white thing, right? White women have the highest rate of finding out about breast cancer, whereas Native American women are the lowest. But it's not that. It's like 23% to like 13%, right? Whereas African American women and Latino women have the highest death rate.
Coverage,
Right? Exactly.
awareness.
That's the thought.
Yeah.
You know. So actually, age-wise, Black women from 40 to 50 have the overall highest death rate in breast cancer. So here's some numbers from Susan G. Komen. So it doesn't get more breast cancer than Susan G. Komen. So in the past 2 years, African women. Should be choked up. 69% have gotten a mammogram.
Right.
Okay. White women, 65%. Hispanic women, 61%. Native American and Alaskans, 60%, and Asian Americans, 59%.
So everything's hovering in the 60s. So
Yeah.
basically 60% of all women. So it is a sense of, sounds like we need more awareness,
Right.
more education.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And
And then
not a lot of, or maybe not taking the issue as serious.
right.
Do you find that when someone just say, I don't think it's that, and then push it off?
I think when I was younger, I ran into more people that, Like I always got my mammograms, but I worked for doctor's offices, so you're a little bit more aware that way. But
So doctors
as
are
I've gotten
normal.
older, more older women are more worried about that and go for their routine mammograms. Plus, there again, as the years go by, medical insurance, you have to have the medical insurance, so women are getting their mammograms more often and taking it more serious. And as they see friends or family that are losing their lives or suffering from the after effects of the chemo and the breast cancer, then that just makes them more aware and more conscious that they need to keep up with that.
We definitely have to not take these type of things.
Right.
But
So some things that they say to look for are the possibility of a high rate of breast cancer personally. So if you had your first period late, you're at a higher risk. Also, menopause, so that came late, you're at a higher risk. If you had your first childbirth, I believe late, then that's also a risk. If you're a higher body weight, you're a higher risk. And then the number of children you have, you think actually the fewer you have, the more you're at risk. So if you have more, you're at a less risk.
No. More kids.
Right, because it allows the flow of hormones and
it's a hormone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of women's breast cancer is a hormonal induced.
Right.
And a lot of women have to take a hormone blocker once they have their chemo and get rid of what they have. But there's a blood test that's called HER2. So if the HER2 is positive, and that means that it was a hormone-induced cancer. And so once they do the chemo and radiation and all that, just to keep the body away from producing more hormone with the possibility that they could get cancer again, they put them on the hormone blocker. I chose not to take it because it gives you the same side effects as the chemo, basically, where you have brain fog, loss of memory, a lot of aching and tiredness and fatigue. And I just decided for myself, whatever time I have left, I would just really like to live it, and not be tired in bed and groggy. And so, and it's not, not all women have that from that. Some women have no side effects. I mean, that's with any medication that you take. Everybody has a different side effect of it. And I just have so many of the side effects from the chemo. I decided for me, I did not want that.
Now, so the side effects of the chemo, how well, we have, this is so juicy. It's a lot about awareness. So much a lack of awareness means I don't know. So it's like we got questions. As you guys know, how we do like to ask our guests questions as to the diabetes, Asperger's syndrome, and what our boy Brian. So all this thing is we like to bring awareness to ourselves and to you out there. So now, one thing you were saying was the chemo. To me, I hear that word chemo. It's like, oh my God, chemo, radiation. Lose my hair.
Yeah.
Is that really how?
Yeah.
That goes?
Yeah. Now there are some people that don't lose their hair. They don't know why, but I did. I went ahead and shaved my head because I didn't want to wake up one morning with clumps of hair on my pillow.
Right.
To me, that would be devastating. So I just went ahead in the beginning and shaved. But along with it, I lost the hair on my arms and my face and my eyebrows and eyelashes and things like that. That's one of the side effects. You lose that. You're extremely tired and fatigued. Lots of times you ache like you have the flu.
Oh, so it's like you feel like the flu.
Yeah, I'm going to be very upfront here. All I really felt like doing was sitting in my recliner with my eyes closed. Even though I wasn't asleep, that's all I really felt like doing, and I had other responsibilities, of course, but And I had to get up and do those, but when I did not have to get up and do what I needed to do as a mother and a grandmother, I sat in my recliner with my eyes closed. Yeah.
So then, let me ask you this. Other than just like the whole getting the mammogram checkup, was there anything that like made you want to go to the doctor just to be checked? Like,
Right.
were you feeling anything? Or you decided, well,
No.
it's a checkup, so it's just time.
Yeah, it was my normal yearly. It was time for me to get a mammogram.
Right.
I didn't feel anything. The doctors didn't feel anything. But when they did the 3D mammogram, that's where they found it. On a regular mammogram, it was so deep that on a regular mammogram, it probably would not have been considered a problem.
Okay.
But if you have dense breast, then they like to do the 3D, which goes deeper into the tissue. And that's when they found it.
So, 2016,
Right.
we go in for a regular checkup.
Right.
Now we do. We talked about body change. So at that time, were you heavier, or was your weight something that you were worried about?
I was
back
a
in
little bit
2016?
less. I was a little bit less than I am now. I've gained more as time's gone on, but I had a lot of fatigue for like a couple of years.
Okay.
So, and they did say that I may have had it for a couple of years, the size that it was.
Oh.
Because the kind I had was a kind of a slow growing, and when they found it, it was bigger than what they like to find it. So that's why they went straight towards doing chemo. Sometimes they take the lump out first, and then they do chemo or radiation or both. But with me, they did the chemo first, and then I chose not to have a lumpectomy. I chose to have the mastectomy. So at that point, you do not have to do the radiation.
So you didn't feel any abnormality?
No.
You just felt normal?
Right. I was just tired a lot. That as you look back on it.
Okay. What the heck? Let's go. What's all this? No, yeah, we're back.
All right. Well, sorry about that, y'all.
Technical difficulties, man.
Lost connection. You know how internet is nowadays. If you're not in a government building or you're not a Russian hacker, you're going to lose your Wi-Fi.
Right. You see the look.
Yeah.
Technology. So,
Thank you,
where we're going. So, now we were talking about Cindy was going into the doctor, going to check up. She said she was feeling a little fatigued, so we were, just trying to figure out different things. Now, possibility said that you could have had, cancer for some time before it was even discovered. To me, that's like a scary thing. It's like, walking around with high blood pressure. That's something we don't know we have all the time until we get those symptoms, or like you said, it gives you an ugly, then we find out when it's too late. In this case, your timing, did you find out before it got too late, or was it too late because you?
No, it wasn't too late. I'm here.
Right. That's the important thing. That's what it is.
Right.
No, it was operable, but and you're given choices whenever they bring you in. They give you the choices that you have. They tell you what you have, and they give you the choices of what you can do. These are your choices, what we can do, and you make up your mind what is best for you. Not what your neighbor did, or your mother did, or your sister did. You do it for you, how you feel, and you carry on with that. And
it's not based on what your insurance tells you can do.
Right. With breast cancer, pretty much the insurance companies have to go with what you wish. And I can't remember which president that was, but they kind of made it was either was that Bush?
Nope. Actually,
Right.
of all the presidents, of course, the one who's all about the women, Mr. Bill Clinton.
Oh, Bill Clinton.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes,
Yeah.
right, that's right. So he signed into law the Women's Health and Cancer Right Act, or the Women's Health Act of 1998, also known as the Janet's Law. So this, at the time, in 1997, there was a young woman, age 35. Her name was Janet Franklaw. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. it was far enough along, and at her young age, the doctors said, "This is what we want to do for you." And her insurance company came back and says, "No, we can't cover that because what they wanted to do a reconstruction surgery on her, because she's 35 years old. Right? She's got to live the rest of her life."
Right.
And they're like, "No, that's considered cosmetic surgery, so we're not going to cover that." And he's like, "What do you mean? She's got breast cancer. This is not cosmetic surgery.
Breast cancer is considered.
And they're like, "No, we're not covering that." And so the doctor that was treating her, he took it upon himself and said, "Screw you, I'm doing it anyways." And that's the bottom line. And then he wrote with his senator, which ran it up the line. It was a very bipartisan decision at the time, which is something that it's hard to hear about nowadays. That it was a majority vote that Senate voted into law, the Janus law, which made its way up to Bill Clinton, and he signed it. Yeah, women have the right when it comes to breast cancer, how their treatment is to be.
They should be. So much of politics trying to dictate our lives versus surgery versus our health versus everything back to live, right? What we're dealing with in our element. Now, because Aaron has said something about children as one of the signs. Now, when you, at the time, how many kids did you have?
I only have 2.
Okay, so you have 2. Okay, all right then. So,
Well, how old were you with your
My
first?
first one I was 19 when I got him.
So you were
3 years later.
okay, so now, at that time, you're like, look, okay, move on, right, do this first, and boom, you find out this. When it came to thinking about the treatment and which course you have to take, how much time did you take upon yourself before you said, okay, I think this is what I'm going to do? It's something that was just a quick flash thing, or you say, hey, you know what, you think about this for a week or 2.
Well, I had pretty much from the beginning felt like that I would want to replace them. I wasn't completely sure, but as I went through chemo, and then you have to go for another mammogram later, and so I did, and I was sitting in the waiting room, and there were 2 women that I spoke to that had had breast cancer before, and they had had the lumpectomy, and the cancer was back. And after I spoke to those 2 women, I knew for sure that I wanted all the breast tissue gone and a reconstruction. I'm not going through this chemo again.
So based on the Susan G. Coma things to look for, the age of your first child, the body weight, the number of children you have. So you don't fit in those categories. Like your first child, you were fairly young. Right. You said at the time you weren't overweight, and you've only had 2 children. So,
I'm overweight.
well, it depends on what you consider overweight.
Right.
But you're not by any means obese.
Grossly obese.
Right. So she didn't really fit into these categories of what to look for
Right.
to put yourself at risk.
Right. And we've never had any cancer in our family ever.
Right. So
that we knew of.
that doesn't mean it's like, okay, well, I'm not fat. I've had children at a young age. I've had children, so I should be fine. No, make sure.
Right.
Make sure. Right?
Women, get your mammograms.
Right.
The due diligence of it.
Exactly. Yes.
So now you have been cancer free
For a year and a half.
How do you feel?
I feel wonderful about being cancer free. It is a struggle every day because I still have, there's a thing called chemo brain, which is considered fogginess a lot and memory loss, or like you're doing a task and all of a sudden you just lose what you're supposed to be doing. It's almost like a dementia thing, and it's pretty scary, when you worry about it. And I've had issues, with my job with it, and but they've worked with me. They've been really good with me. I'm still very fatigued. I got neuropathy in my hands and in my feet, which is numbness. So I can't, my fingers and my feet feel like they're asleep all the time.
Oh, really?
And it's hard. You have to kind of learn how to, yeah. My job, most of mine is touch screen.
Right.
And I started using a stylus because I can't really feel how hard I'm hitting. And, that was, I'm hitting all day long.
Right.
But, yeah, and as far as neuropathy in your feet, a lot of people with diabetes get neuropathy in their feet, and it's you have to learn how to walk again because the feeling of the pad that you stand on your feet, that's different. And
No, please. You sit on the toilet for a little bit too long.
right, and
you get to stand up. You have that newborn calf feeling.
Yeah.
You're like, can't quite. You gotta try to bend down and pick up your pants because the legs are shaking. Yeah, I've been there.
But anyway, there's just I've got arthritis really bad, and I did not have that before the chemo. So there's side effects. And they're lifelong. They do say that, because I asked, how long am I going to be numb in my hands and my feet? How long am I going to be fatigued? How long for this or for that? And they say nobody knows. Every individual is different.
Right.
So you just have to kind of go with the flow, grin and bear it, put one foot in front of the other, and pull your britches up and go ahead.
So did you have any physical therapy in that, or any exercises or anything?
I went to physical therapy for a while just to kind of loosen things up because you just get so tense from all the frustration and all of that kind of stuff. I went for physical therapy for a while. And I had the most amazing life coach through my insurance, through my job. She called me every 2 weeks and she talked with me, and we would discuss how I'm feeling. We would discuss the medications I was on, whether I needed to kick them up or move them back, whether I needed to talk to my doctor. I forgot to mention all of the one of the side effects is you lose control of your bladder and your bowels a lot. And you have to go a lot. You're nauseated. I didn't do a lot of throwing up, but I was nauseated and kind of sick to my stomach a lot.
How long did that last? Couple weeks?
It lasts all the way through the chemo, and I would say probably about 3 months. I finally started not having such a queasy stomach and problem with the bowels and the kidney and all that kind of thing. So, but like I say, everybody is different. Everybody's not going to have the same symptoms. They're not going to last the same amount of time. It's all an individual, personal thing.
So, diet. We all know that diet can lead to, low greatness and healthy, or diet can lead you straight to a low problems.
Right.
So, did you have a drastic change in your diet before and after this? Did you know?
Well, I've kind of yo-yoed with my weight and trying to be good about my eating all my life. And they send you to a nutritionist when you have cancer. They send you to a nutritionist and they explain, all the little pies on your plate, and everything. And you are supposed to, limit the fats, the breads, the starches, and things like that. Eat most, they say a lot of the nausea and your blood count, your white blood count, it'll get really low from the chemo. And so eating a lot of greens like spinach and broccoli and kale,
foods.
all your alkaline stuff.
Notice she's saying all the greens,
Right.
alkaline foods and vegetables.
Exactly.
So what about meats? Did they tell you?
They just said, the less fat, you can to eat your portion, like you're supposed to have of protein.
Anything specific to stay away from? Like say, okay, don't have tuna because mercury.
Right. I don't remember them saying that. Maybe if I had said I eat a lot of it, they would have said, well, maybe you need to cut back. But I don't remember that. It was basically just what you learn in school when in health class, and your piles on your plate, and how much of each for you to eat. But this is really pushing the greens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Some fruits and vegetables.
Yeah. Definitely. So through this, and I'm quite sure you've met, talked to various women, going through this at different stages of their life. As far as words, advice, something that you can give the next woman straight, or or people that's going through this right now, beginning stages, or they're in the middle of the chemo and they just want to give up hope. They're just tired, like you say, because you do get tired and you say, I want to give up. I mean, what kept you driving? What can you give them so they can, keep pushing?
I just say that I have a lot of faith in God, and even if it was my time to go, that God was going to help me make my transition from this journey to the next journey. My family, my daughter was right there by my side. My niece was living with me at that time, and she was comforting to me. And my brothers and my sister from Texas, they called me on a weekly basis and checked on me, asked how I was doing. You just have to keep your faith, and you really need that family group to come in and let you know that they've got you, that you're not going to fall without them being there to catch you. And just think positive. Just don't let your mind think that this could be the end. I was a little bit worried in the beginning, but then there was a certain point where I thought, I'm not going to do this. This is not going to take me. I'm going to work my way through it. And I think that's the best way to do it, is never to give up. Never say this is the end. Just say this is a bump in the road, and we're going to make it through.
So while you were going through it, what was the best piece of advice that you got or that you heard? Somebody gave you, seeing that you were in a position or in that.
Most of my friends are very faithful to God, and most of it was based around your faith in God. That He's there with you, He's walking with you, and you need to walk and talk with Him and let Him hold your hand, let Him lift you up, and just keep a positive attitude. I mean, I had a wonderful support system, and like I said, my nurse care manager from Aetna, Allison, she was wonderful. It was like I was excited to get my call from her every 2 weeks, and she even told me that, and she wrote a letter because the insurance company had said, ask her, was there a patient of hers that she could write up for them to put in the Walmart monthly paper, and she chose me. And in there she said, I was excited when I would see Cindy's name on my roster to call that week, because talking to her was like talking to an old friend. So we just kicked it off really well together, and she was a lot of support to me also.
That's encouraging.
Yes.
Because I can only see myself. I would, for 1 minute, it'd be tough for me. I'd be short with people. I'd probably be grumpy, and I know it all starts from within, and changing that mindset, through that time. So, I commend you.
Thank you.
I commend you, coming and sharing this with us, because it's like I said, man, we all get through stuff, but it's not always easy to share our experiences. So for you to come up and share that with us and strength, I really hope it's encouraging for others out there.
I saw see on our cards right now that another one of our listeners had her mom's a survivor, and before we went down, there was a couple other people who came on and were saying thank you for sharing your story and being a voice for
And that's what we say. We
Read my shirt.
say it right there.
I came, I fought, I conquered, and I'm a prize winner.
There you go.
Prize fighter, excuse me.
Either way,
All right,
you want a prize.
Right.
She's smiling here. She's smiling with us, and she's sharing, that experience. And I'm going to tell you thank you for it.
So my last question, to try to lighten the mood. So it's always recommended about the buddy check. And I tell my wife every night I'm supposed to do a buddy check on her, but she won't let me. But can you tell her that I should be giving her the buddy check?
Yeah. That's your own personal.
Okay.
What's wrong with helping him?
Right? That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Buddy check. Buddy check.
Breast cancer is don't be a chump, check for a lump.
That's right.
Don't be a chump, check for a lump.
Check for a lump.
And even though you don't feel a lump, still go for your mammogram because you never know how hidden they can be.
Right. That's something else right there. So and check for all types of cancer.
Exactly.
I know there's various types out there. The most common breast cancer, men probably prostate, testicular cancer. Yeah, colon is, colon cancer. So and as we come to, we have breast cancer in October. We have prostate cancer in November. So let's do what we have to do. Buddy checks, doctor checks, yearly checks.
So don't do the buddy check on the prostate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend.
Wouldn't recommend that. Leave that to a professional.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, men,
He's your buddy. He's your friend.
Because
That's a lump, but I think that's a hemorrhoid.
it's funny. I just thought about it because that's one thing with men. For that check, you have to bend over with the glove, and that's not just a normal thing. And so, as I've actually had this talk with a couple dudes at work here, some have been through it, some haven't, and some say, "Hey, man, I'm just gonna go when I go." So it's funny to see certain men react to this, but from the women's side, are women open to it, or do?
I think this day and age, women are more open.
They're more
open. Everything is more open.
Yeah,
they got them hanging out already.
You ain't lying about that.
For the doctor before they ever get there, So I just think women are more open to that kind of thing, and not as. I know as my mom, she would have been just horrified for a man to be checking her breast and doing, her womanly thing, but. I just think this day and age, everybody is more open about it, which is good because we need to be more open about our bodies and what all the functions do and what we need to do to take care of each one of those functions, and that keeps us living longer.
Yes, that is so true. So true. You hear the message.
I like a girl.
Not like a cowboy.
There you go.
I have a shirt that says that too.
Yeah.
I'm a cowboy.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. How about them cowboys?
That's what my mom used to say all the time. How about them cowboys?
That's my brother down there in Texas. Love you, bro. But man, Amari Cooper now.
Oh yeah.
They picked up some things now. So we got a sports fanatic with us as well, people. It's always a good thing to learn.
I heard Amari's gonna be a good fit down there because he's used to working with a crappy coach.
Yeah.
So he might fit in well there.
Too much. Definitely. So, and that is one thing that we do have with our show sports as well. Browns are Browns again. So, we were winners. We are winners when we win. Let's just say,
That is a factual statement.
That's a fact.
You win, you are a winner.
One win lasts a long time.
Yes, it does.
It does in Cleveland.
But a whole season without one, boy, that lasts even longer. It seems.
Yeah.
But if you notice, why is it so hard for Cleveland to win? 3 points, overtime, an overtime game, overtime, and then it's just a shoot.
Hey,
Well, you know,
why do you think-
Cardinals can do that too. They may start out with a bang, and then all of a sudden, when you get into the
Yeah.
middle of the season, Cowboys do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they may start out with a bang, and all of a sudden, they're not winning anything. Well, nobody can catch, nobody can run.
They would just wind up cussing at him.
Yeah,
That's all. Just wind up cussing at him on the TV.
I'm gonna throw my shirt in the garbage.
Yeah. Yep. Or kick the TV. You already know.
Football's like politics. They do just enough to keep us divided.
And we won't go into the politics.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. That's for sure.
So, you know, we have now with our show, so we have the hard topic, which is the hard thing to discuss, which is the breast cancer for this one. Now, we also have our sports, of course, you know, as guys here in sports, which we're doing with you. Now, we're going to see these Cowboys. Yes, Cowboys.
So you can stop sports now.
We haven't said what Aaron is a fan of, but I don't see him announcing it either. So I guess we're just gonna leave that to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just because we lost 2 Super Bowls to the Cowboys, there's no hard feelings there.
When she looks at you like, ooh, how do you handle that?
And just because we have this rookie, because this year we have this rookie quarterback who's doing great, and they decide to bring in this quarterback Derek Anderson, who's won with who? Nobody. Put him in as the starting quarterback, not knowing the team, not having repertoire, not knowing anything, and they're surprised that they lost.
I just want to share my favorite Derek Anderson moment. 2006 or 2007. Ron Rivera comes out. Cam, he didn't have a tie. He wasn't dressed for dress code, you know, properly with a tie. He's going to sit out the first half. Oh, yeah, they're prostrate. Yeah, I'm a big guy. I'm a coach. That's what I say. You don't have a tie. You're not dressed right. Now, Cam's in a suit. He's in a suit. We know Cam gets fly. He's in a suit. He just didn't have a tie. I wonder if he had an Ashcroft, if that's what the scarf for him.
Yeah.
So, Derek Anderson, you know, first play of the game, Derek Anderson goes in reception. Cam! What the hell, we know?
Don't forget your tie.
The next series, Cam Duke out there. Ready! Take out! Favorite Derek Anderson story right there. That just goes to show you. You can set a precedent, you can set a rule if you want, but if that player, you know, is that good, or if the play happens to go that bad, like Peterman, you just got a result.
Yeah.
You got to go back to, drop what you say you drop.
Derek Anderson, he's been around the league for a good number of years.
Forever.
Right? And he's bounced from team to team.
Forever.
Not because, like, if he was a Steve Berline, that'd be something else.
Right.
Steve Berline was a quality quarterback who just couldn't find the right team. And every time he got put into a team, he figured out how to win. Derek Anderson is just he's a quality third-string quarterback.
I forgot Derek Anderson was in the league.
Exactly.
Think about it.
Exactly.
That's how quiet he's been. He's been playing that much before he's in the league.
Yeah.
So then the question comes, Derek Anderson and Sam Bradford.
Right.
I love both of them. Been there forever. They don't do nothing. Unlike Sam, though, Sam is a high-paid QB to not do nothing.
Sam continues to start.
Yeah,
he plays it good. Everybody loves Sam. Everybody's got the big heart on for Sam.
2 games, and he gets hurt, and you don't see him again. Then he gets traded to another team.
That's
It's
the
max
man.
contract. It's hurt after a game or a play or a series. Then you don't see him again for the year. You get traded to a new team, and the cycle continues.
Hey, you can get paid for playing 3 games. God bless you.
That's true. I mean,
God
shoot,
bless you.
if I can get paid to be Sam Bradford, to be RJ Green,
Yeah.
to be Derek
The
Anderson.
water boy.
Exactly. The water boy.
Maybe they didn't make Derek Anderson.
You know, you never know. Shoot. You know, so it'll be interesting, but, you know, let's just hope that we all be winners here this week, this Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. But there's one thing I do got to bring up.
Yeah.
It is World Series.
Congrats to 18 innings of muscle
Yeah.
mentality.
I didn't. I couldn't step any longer. What happened?
Dodgers came on top.
Oh, they did?
Now,
it was
now
a good
2-1.
game. It was a good game.
Yeah, it
2-1.
was. It was.
Good game. Because I am not going to lie. When I was sitting there watching game 1 and game 2, and I'm looking at Boston, I'm like, Boston's just ripping. I mean,
Well, it's because they're in Boston. You always. It's going to come down to game 6 and 7.
the mustard was not showing up in Boston. But back it up. But we know you got to watch. You got to make
It's going to be
sure.
6 and 7.
I like to see.
It's going to go the whole 9 or the whole 7.
Right.
For this series, just because you go to Boston. Boston's a tough town to play in. You go to LA. LA's a tough town to play in. So it's just going to be whoever comes out on top and we'll push through.
Yeah, Dodgers fans, the booty teeth was a little tight though.
Yeah.
It was a lot tight when it came to that 1-1. I mean, everybody was good, but
It's Tina Kim. Hey,
I
Tina.
know.
You missed the whole story.
Yeah. Gonna have some backup.
But thanks for reminding. There's 2 parts. The 2-part series.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Part 1 and part 2. So as we continue on, we got a sports segment going now. With that, we have music.
Yep.
So we have music assigned. Yes.
Okay.
So what kind of music do you listen to?
Any kind.
Okay. All right. Who's your favorite artist? You got a favorite band?
She's big into DMX.
Right?
I would say that the person that I would really want to go see if I had the money to go see would be Celine Dion.
Ooh, that's a legend.
Whitney would have been the next one if I
Yeah.
could have done that. But,
Yeah.
I want to pay more money to see
I love those 2 ladies make my skin, when they hit those notes and the beauty of their voices.
Yeah. Celine can go. I have to say, I don't think I would give him a Celine Dion music assignment.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
But
You guys are in charge of the music.
right.
I'm an old woman. I'm into the big band music even.
Right. So what we did, so what we like to do because of contrast, I like to give music from when I was listening to rock coming up. Because right now a lot of music is garbage. As we talk, from I won't say every genre of music is garbage, but I found out that certain artists don't like other artists when like country music and I didn't know that type of animosity in a sense is like it is in hip hop. You see, you always hear about these people. This artist don't like this artist because something he said or a jab in his music. But I didn't think on the real that was portrayed within the country world.
Yeah, well, that's an exception with the Williams family, just because of who the Williams are.
So are they like the Mannings of country?
No, they're more like
The
the
dark sheep of the country? Or what?
no, they're more like the Lombardis of country. Right, so they're
They're standards.
yeah, they're
Lombardi's
the
standards.
ones that made. So we're talking about Hank Williams,
Right. Yeah.
Hank Williams,
That's Kevin's
Hank Jr.
favorite is Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah, and then Hank the Third. So the Williams family, yeah,
Yeah, he's good.
So Hank Sr. is kind of what made country music what it is today, as far as its popularity. Like country music was there. It was at the time it was the standard. Like rock and roll didn't exist at that time. It was swing, it was jazz, it was country music. But Hank took country music at that time and made it more than just music. He made it a scene.
Right.
And then, of course, because of his early passing, they brought in the son, Hank Jr., and tried to make him a replacement thereof because the money not having a Hank Williams. So they tried to make him the new Hank Williams. And he was young at the time, so he didn't know which way was up at the time. So they just kind of tried to mold him to be the Hank that they wanted. They wanted Hank Williams to be, because Hank Williams was not the Hank that he was on record. He was this really wholesome, down to earth guy in music, but in his life, he was an alcoholic. He was a womanizer. He was everything a celebrity is, right? And the record company didn't like that, so they saw this young kid who looks and sounds just like his poppy at the time, and said, "We're gonna mold him to be the Hank Williams."
He looks innocent,
right? We're gonna, because he doesn't know any better, so we're gonna mold him to be the Hank Williams that we wanted when Hank Williams was here. Right. And of course,
he fought tooth and nail, didn't he?
Right. When he got to a certain age, he says, "I don't know what you guys are trying to." Hank passed away when Junior was 3 years old. He was only 3, but he knew enough about who he was to say, "This is not who my father was. Right. I don't know why you're trying to make me this way." So he rebelled, and then that was enough for the record companies just to let go of the Williams family altogether. And so Hank 3 went on an independent circuit of his own, using his family money. That's why he did his own thing. That's why he says country music is a bunch of shit nowadays, because they're not looking for honky tonkers like it used to be. Like it used to be like the record industry had to go to the honky tonks and find the people who were bringing in crowds and playing music and lived and loved what they were doing. They found the pretty voice with a pretty person, and everything was pretty. They had them set the standard, and God bless him, I love him. Garth Brooks was the man that started that whole pushing country music to be more pop, and went that way. Between him and then Billy Ray Cyrus. Billy Ray Cyrus was the big heartthrob, and they decided to make country more pop, and that's when Hank Third says,
I like Hank Third so much.
Yeah, I love him. Hank Third is the man. Yeah, and that's what he's saying. Country music's pop nowadays. It's not.
So,
and then, don't get me wrong. At that time, and even now, there are a lot of country music artists. Not as many as we would like to see, that focus on the country music for what it is, but they're just out there for the glory as opposed to the passion.
So what is Brad considered? Brad,
he started off.
He's
passion.
a Cleveland Browns fan, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's why I like him. Also.
He's a passionate glory guy. He started off passionate. He was actually one of the lead guitarists in Garth Brooks' travel band. And Garth Brooks got him to push up to make him the star. He put him in front of record execs and did this thing, and he was writing his own music, and he still does. He still writes his own music, but he found a formula that works. That
It's his personality,
right, and that fans grasp to. So he doesn't stray from that formula, So he started off passionate. He saw money coming in, so he stayed that direction, and he went from passionate to
cool. Now, all of us said, now they're thinking, okay, there's music. We just went off topic.
Yeah.
Nobody said that we had to be on script. It is our show.
That was a ramble.
We can go where we want to go. This conversation took off, and it was a good conversation. But as far as music assignments and what I had Chili Peppers. Yeah, I tell you that. Okay, now basically to break down the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they're a mixed blend. When I first put on the CD, I thought I was listening to something that goes back into grunge, to the Nirvana way. Nah, and then as I'm listening, the first song reminds me of a little bit of grunge, rock, little Beastie Boys. But that's not them, you see. So as you get to listening, then I hear a little, Nirvana in there. And I'm like, okay, let's say, it's grunge. I just say grunge type. And I'm still listening, and I'm like, okay, so then it's like a little rock, a little soft rap in a sense, because they want to blend it. So then I'm like, okay, this group is not really in one lane. Right. Red Hot Chili Peppers is not really in one lane. And as much as I thought I'd heard a Red Hot Chili Peppers song, that City of Angels, I thought that was Nirvana's song. That's Red Hot Chili. Yeah. See, that's what I'm telling you, the grunge part, because when that song came, I was in Washington. Okay. I was in Washington. Working in Washington, I was like 17 or so. That song's been out a while.
Yeah, it's on the long time.
Okay.
Long
Because I'm sitting here like, wait, I heard this song. That song's been out a long time.
But that album's from like 92.
Got it. Okay, that explains.
Which
Now,
is during the grunge time. But
right.
there before that, they actually got their start in like 87.
But
So they've been around for a while.
out of all this time, and all the Red Hot Chili Pepper songs that I thought I heard, I ain't never heard not one. But one. City Ranger. That's, I don't even know what to say with the group. I'm like, wait a minute. Have I not heard them, or I have heard them and they've been disguised?
Right, I thought there was something
And I
else.
thought there was somebody else. Now it's them.
And they're still making music today. They just put out a record like 2016, 2 years ago,
Right.
that they're still playing.
This
They're
album
an
is
incredible
crazy.
band.
Yeah, this it's a
One of my favorite
it's
bassists,
an eclectic.
Flea. He's an awesome bassist.
Oh, is he? Because
Yeah.
they got this one track. I think it's. I don't even know if it's. I think it's funky monks.
Yeah.
With that bass guitar up in there. Hey, boy! I was like, oh, there we go. Okay.
You might recognize Flea. Have you ever seen Back to the Future?
Yeah.
You seen the second and the third one?
Yeah.
The second one, he was the guy that came on the big screen that told Marty McFly to do some weird off-site trade. He's like, "What are you, chicken?" He's like, "Oh, noodles."
Oh, that's it.
And then at the end of the third one, he challenged him to that race in the pickup trucks where he would have ran into the Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Needle. That's Flea.
Oh, watch
In
it.
case you didn't know.
Watch it. Well, I didn't know about now. You know, it's not every day you can go out and just see a lot of rippers sometimes, but you know, never say no, so
Also look on mine.
Yep.
Mr. Google.
Right.
Mr. Google. Okay, that's my boy P, Mr. Google.
So then I got the
That's
luxury
what's up.
of listening to Missy Elliott Under Construction.
Mm-hmm.
That is a fun album because she's mixing. At the time, would be modern hip hop with trying to bring some of the more classic hip hop into it,
Right.
which I found kind of odd because the classic hip hop was only maybe 5-10 years prior to the album, so they call it classic hip hop. It's like saying a 2012 truck is a classic truck. You know?
Right.
It's like it's only
Right.
5 years old. You know,
Right.
It's like why is it now? Why is it classic? I mean, it just shows you how far hip hop has gone. You know, and it's separating. But it's a fun album. The big hit on the album, of course, was "Work It."
Yeah.
And which is a good song. But I don't know why that was the big song on the album. Not that it was bad. And I
There
get
was
it.
other ones on there.
Yeah, I get it. It was probably the most marketable song on that album. It by far was not the best song on that album. Actually, my favorite one was "Pussycat." In case y'all don't know that song, it's a song to where she's essentially praying to her pussy to please her man so that way he doesn't go off and cheat. And, I listened to it not often enough to where I found myself out in public at the grocery store accidentally singing it out loud, and noticing people were looking at me. And I didn't realize if it was because I was saying the N-word in public or because of using my masculine voice, I was singing to my pussy.
Which way you think it was, Aaron?
I have no idea.
You know?
I'm still, don't fail me now. Gotta turn the nigga out. Check it out. You'll like that song. It's a great song. It's very sultry, very sexy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
That's why Aaron is walking through the store singing Mr. Elliott's one of her most freakiest songs.
Yeah, really.
I don't know, but I love it.
But also through the whole album, most of the songs on the album, she gives a lot of love to the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. Beastie Boys were, and I love listening to Beastie Boys, especially Paul Revere. She throws in some Paul Revere in there. So,
This is one of the most eclectic, high energy artists, performers. And I don't know why all of a sudden we just stopped having Missy Elliott. And I don't think it was because of Missy. I think there were bigger heads that just wanted to. No, we can't let America have too much Missy because she was showing up on everything.
Right.
Target commercials.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Well, and a lot. And she had her own sound.
Yes.
It was very it was a good sound.
It was a P-Funk type
Right.
Because and it's so hard within hip hop to have that type of persona like that.
And then I was going back to this, and then Drake came out, and Drake had that sound, and the record companies wanted to repeat Drake, and she by far does not have a Drake sound.
Well, yeah, it is like decade later, but you're right.
But that's where she fell off was around that time.
And it's just like, why? It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's hard to
Missy. I just think that Missy was a good artist.
Yeah. Well, Missy Elliott, we want to invite you to the B&W show.
Yeah.
Come here, tell your story. Tell us what it's like to be a woman in a male-dominated hip-hop industry.
Word.
And we'd love to have you.
How you get your footing, your platform, and stuff that you and Timberland. It's like classy. Like you see his face.
Yeah.
Oh, it's ugly. That's just how good it was. So, so that is our music thing. But we give assignments. So I'm switching the role up. I'm gonna really change it up.
Okay.
People think I'm gonna do some type of hip hop. So I'm doing some baby making music.
Oh, okay.
We're going baby making music.
Sinatra.
Oh, Sinatra. Let's go with Tom Jones.
Oh, there you go.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What's that? That was Tom Jones. Yeah. When you were saying that song, I was talking about Tom Jones.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know.
We should mix some Tom Jones and Missy Elliott. That would be an interesting mix. I'm gonna bring that next month to the B&W show.
I wanted to capture a controversy. So we already know who's been in the news a long time, a couple years back. But he's also a tour now who's just a
Oh.
He's a man that's very talented. Very talented. But he's also very troubled.
Sure.
Not to say that he's the only one. Oh,
right.
No. Right. He's probably one in a group of artists that's having trouble, things. But I want to give you R. Kelly. Would put R. Kelly on the map. Okay. So it's the track. I believe it's his first one. We're gonna go with the 12 play, Walk the Grind. I want to give you that. That's the album. And I believe that is it. But yeah, for your next three, I'm gonna give you a baby making. Yes.
So baby, better watch out.
I'm just putting it out. Yes, it is. It's 12 play. It's 12 play.
Okay.
That's the one I want you to hear. 12 play, 1993. The thing about R. Kelly, man, we went to, I dance. I love dancing. You go to club, fellas, like I sit on the wall looking at other dudes trying to meet them. You're wasting your time. Get off of that. All them pretty women walking around, short skirts, heels, boots, all this. They're there for you.
So that's this.
Pay attention to them.
We got a woman here. You're at a club. You see a guy sitting on the wall. You see a guy in the middle of the dance floor. Which one was more attractive?
The one on the dance floor.
There you go. Now, you see, and I can attest to that. Successes back in the day. But let's just say.
That's why he's got his wife now.
Oh, yeah. You need to, guys, don't be afraid to go boogie. You don't have to go out there and act like you the next break it down person. Jamaica, they really get loose and all that. So you got to go out there like one of the Florida boys. I bet Florida got his own thing. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? But, you got to at least know how to go out there and two-step with your lady. Go ahead and move her to entice her. So, R. Kelly was the man back in the day. He was coming with the things. I got some Jodeci before you were going to get out. Yeah, Jodeci. After Dark. Y'all know about that. That's going to be next. But you don't. But you do. So I'm going to get you with the little 12 play. Let's switch it up. and go into some baby mother music.
Okay.
So that's what I got for you.
Okay. So last month, of course, you got the rock and roll music. So as I like to do, I like to switch it up on you. So this month is some country music. It just so happened it worked out for. But I was in debate. Do I give, I wanted to give push a woman on back on you. I haven't been a woman on you for a while. And last month, because we had Willie Nelson, so I kept mentioning Patsy Cline a lot. Because Patsy Cline is a huge.
I love Willie Nelson. I love
His
it.
voice was so smooth.
Yeah. And
Even when he talk, it's smooth.
like I
He's
said,
smooth out.
Yeah, really.
yes, it is.
I need to go to a bar with Willie Nelson on happy hour.
Yeah.
Because, you
When
know.
I go to heaven, I want to go to Willie Nelson's heaven.
Right,
There you go. Willie and Patsy were kind of. Patsy, he wrote a lot of songs for Patsy Cline, so that's kind of what I was pushing for. But then I was like, well, that might come later. You definitely will need some Patsy Cline, but not this time, because there was another one that kept popping in mind. And not because it just happened to work out for breast cancer awareness. This month, I'm giving you Dolly Parton.
Oh, okay.
And it is Dolly Parton's greatest hits, because there was a couple songs I wanted you to hear.
Okay.
That is the existential Dolly. Dolly is one of the she's one of the first ladies of country music. If you ask somebody, hey, what's country music to you? Someone who's ever listened to country music, Dolly Parton's probably going to be one of the names that just popped out.
So we got
So, and she's done a lot. As much as she's a country music artist, she's done acting. She's an entrepreneur. She has a giant theme park in Nashville called Dollywood. She's probably one of the most positive, successful role models you could ever want to follow. Everything she touches turns to platinum.
Well, look at Taylor Swift, and she backed Taylor Swift.
Exactly. So Dolly, she knows her stuff. She's a great artist. There's a song on here that you will recognize that was used by somebody else, and she made it a bigger hit, but Dolly was the first. I think I like Dolly version better. And we'll see.
No doubt. So, as you guys know, we this is real fun.
Okay.
We like to talk, as you see.
I can see that.
You see that. We have
I'm enjoying myself. Thank you.
And we are happy.
This is better than the Walmart line anyway.
Oh, we can talk about Walmart.
Yeah.
I know you got some stories, but that'll be off camera. Off camera.
That's another
That's a
segment.
whole nother episode.
A whole other episode. But we are creating audio tapes because there's so much stuff that you guys are not getting to be privy of off air. So with when the microphone's on, but the video's not, it's still some good stuff.
Yeah.
But we're running. Our wives have let us know we talk too much. That's what I'm getting to. We talk too much because we enjoy each other's time, so much. So as you know, we're supposed to stick to an hour. We are currently 10 minutes over.
But we did have the technical difficulty in between, so we're right there on the
cusp. So what we're gonna do is we do have some other stuff, but that's how good and juicy it is. We're not even gonna share that. We're gonna have it for next show, or as you guys know, we just had the cemetery run. So look for and I do want to tell you, thank you everybody for your feedback. I know we was clowning. That's our whole thing we want to do. We want to have clowning and have fun with you guys. So everybody, thank you for telling us how crazy we were and how you guys wouldn't be out there. Believe me, I probably won't be out there again. I'm telling you, I saw the black cats, and the black cats didn't show up on the video stream. Something was wrong, so we was out. But we are working to keep this to an hour. We do have some other stuff we're going to be sharing with you on the next show coming in. Or just look for some takes that we're going to be trying to slip and slide throughout the month to the next one. We're here every Saturday, 10 to 11. Last Saturday of the month. Last Saturday of the month.
We're trying to get to every Saturday.
Right. Sponsors? Yeah. But, for right now, we're working last Saturday of the month. As you do know, we did start off the show twice a month. Things a little cumbersome. We do have some lives that we do quite busy, and so right now we're at once a month, last Saturday of the month. We love it, love you guys. Cindy, I'm gonna tell you that again.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Definitely.
Part of a
Let
token.
me share, and we all love women. We all love each other, and
Definitely.
And we have tokens for you, so we need both arms.
I'd like to give you our breast cancer.
Yep.
Thank you.
Bracelet.
Show you how much we do appreciate
You
it.
know, keep up the good fight.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I have strength on my hand.
Yep. And they gave you girl power.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yep. So you just turn this around.
Thank you.
There you go. So
All right. Thank you so much.
no problem. No problem. So do want to tell America, thank you for your time. Appreciate you 5 minutes, and we will be back again doing this again in what, 4 weekends, 4 Saturdays.
Yeah.
See you in 4 Saturdays, or we'll see you after the next third Saturday.
And remember, don't be a chump. Check for a lump.
That's right, buddy system.
Yeah.
We
Peace.
apologize for the inconvenience.
Always.